The winter pressed against the city like a restless ghost, rattling at the tall glass windows of the fine dining restaurant. Inside, everything gleamed with warmth. Crystal chandeliers cast golden light over plush velvet booths, silverware shone against starched linens, and the low hum of polite conversation filled the air. Waiters glided through the aisles with practiced grace, trays balanced with wine and steaming plates. Emma Wells tied her apron tighter and smoothed the stray lock of blonde hair that always slipped loose no matter how often she tucked it back. The holiday season meant more shifts, more tired feet. But tonight she had volunteered for a double. Sam's 3rd birthday was coming, and the fire truck toy he dreamed of, with flashing lights and a wailing siren, was just beyond her budget. Another shift might mean she could give him that joy. Near the large frosted window at table 9 sat a man alone. His name was Daniel Archer. No watch, no gold cufflinks, no designer insignia stitched into his navy shirt. He seemed strangely out of place in this room of platinum cards and designer heels, but he sat as if the world fit him perfectly anyway. He had ordered early, just water and roasted chicken. Emma noticed him when she passed, tray balanced on her arm. Their eyes met for only a second. He gave a courteous smile, the kind that wasn't layered with expectation. She liked that. Then, 10 minutes later, his date arrived. A tall brunette wrapped in a fur-trimmed designer coat that looked worth more than Emma's rent. She swept into the chair with a sigh, eyeing Daniel with immediate disappointment. "You're Daniel?" she asked flatly. He stood politely and offered his hand. "Yes, good to meet you." She didn't take it. Instead, she flicked open the menu and sighed again. "You already ordered?" "Chicken and water." Her voice was sharp enough to slice through the background chatter. Daniel's tone stayed even. "I prefer simple meals," the woman gave a mocking laugh. "Simple? Try cheap. Are you trying to play the humble tech guy card?" Emma pretended to busy herself with her tray, but she caught the flicker in Daniel's eyes, a flash of quiet hurt. Then, as if on cue, the date flung her hand in irritation, knocking her wine glass. The red liquid spilled down Daniel's shirt. Emma hurried over with a napkin, crouching beside him as she dabbed at the stain. He thanked her softly. But the brunette scoffed. "I'm sure you're used to this kind of mess. People like you. And her." She nodded toward Emma. Emma stood slowly, cheeks warm, but voice firm. "No one deserves to be spoken to like that." "Not him, not anyone." The woman blinked in disbelief. "Excuse me?" Emma's voice didn't waver. "You don't judge people by their order or their clothes. And if respect isn't on your table tonight, maybe this isn't the place for you." A hush fell across nearby tables. Then came her manager's voice like a blade. "Emma, office, now." Daniel rose too, his expression calm but resolute. She did nothing wrong. She saved this evening from being worse than it already was. The manager scowled. But Daniel had already walked out, leaving a trail of silence in his wake. 10 minutes later, Emma stepped outside into the snow, her job hanging in uncertainty. There was Daniel waiting with his hands buried in his coat pockets. "You okay?" he asked. "I'll survive," she answered, though her voice was weary. "Might not be working here much longer." Daniel's eyes softened. "I'm sorry you had to go through that. I used to watch my mom get spoken to the same way when she worked in diners. Thank you for saying something." "Not for me, for what's right." Emma's throat tightened. "Anytime," she said quietly, "even if it costs me everything." For the first time that night, Daniel Archer gave a true smile. The following day, Daniel arrived at the restaurant again, this time in a tailored coat that gave away who he really was. The conference room buzzed with quiet tension as he handed his card across the table. Daniel Archer, CEO, Allura Holdings. The manager paled, and the regional supervisor fumbled for words. "I came back," Daniel said evenly, "because what I saw last night was unacceptable." Emma Wells didn't mishandle the situation. She was the only person who stood up when things went wrong. Instead of being commended, she was punished. The room fell still. "She should be reinstated," Daniel continued. "But more than that, I want her offered a new role. Assistant Manager of Staff Development. We need someone who understands compassion." Hours later, Emma was summoned. She walked in expecting termination papers, not Daniel. He smiled gently when their eyes met. "Miss Wells," the supervisor began stiffly, "please sit." Daniel spoke first. "You reminded everyone what integrity looks like. That's why I recommended not only keeping you, but promoting you." Emma blinked, stunned. "Me? But I've never—" "You've lived it," Daniel said simply. "That matters more than a manual." For the first time in years, Emma didn't feel invisible. 2 weeks later, Emma straightened the collar of a too-big blazer. Her new badge read Assistant Manager. Every day was a whirlwind: schedules, training, difficult staff conversations. She stayed up late scribbling notes on her son's coloring pages, learning on the fly. But whenever she faltered, Daniel appeared. Not with criticism, just steady presence. Like the night the scheduling software crashed. She nearly cried until Daniel made a call and had it fixed. He brushed it off. Tech support owed me a favor. But to Emma, it was a lifeline. One evening, her neighbor dropped Sam off at closing time. Her little boy bolted down the hallway, backpack bouncing. Before Emma could stop him, Sam hurled himself into Daniel's arms. "You said I could show you my dinosaur backpack." Daniel crouched, listening intently as Sam explained every pocket, nodding like the details of a 3-year-old's world were the most important thing in existence. Emma watched silently, a lump in her throat. Spring arrived with drizzle and late nights. After one long shift, Emma found a warm jacket folded in the break room with a note on top. Because Sam needs his mom healthy, not sick. Her hands trembled as she held it. Not flowers, not flattery, thoughtful care. It pierced deeper than anything she'd been given before. Soon after, she stood before 10 new hires leading a training session. Her blazer still didn't fit, but her voice was steady. "It's not just about fixing mistakes. It's about listening. People come here to feel seen." At the back of the room, Daniel watched quietly, pride softening his features. And that was when he realized he wasn't just admiring her anymore. He was falling. Their connection grew naturally. Dinners, a trip to the Children's Museum, a picnic where Sam chased ducks more than he ate. Daniel slipped into their rhythm. Sam stopped calling him Mr. Daniel and began shouting, "Uncle Dan!" with delight. To the boy, Daniel was the one who could roar like a dinosaur at bedtime, the one who lifted him high enough to touch the sky. To Emma, he was something else. Quiet, steady, someone who showed up. But walls still stood around her heart. On Sam's birthday, Daniel brought a giant fire truck playset. Sam's eyes lit brighter than the candles on his cupcakes. Emma crouched beside Daniel. "How did you know he loved fire trucks?" Daniel hesitated. "I didn't. I wanted one when I was his age. Could never afford it after my dad died." His voice softened with old grief. "I never got that truck." Emma's chest ached. She touched his arm gently. "Thank you for showing me this part of you." Their eyes locked and something shifted. But fear crept back in. Love wasn't safe. It left scars. And Emma had Sam to protect. That's when Margaret Archer appeared at Emma's door, elegant and cold. "I raised my son through poverty," she said. "I won't let him be pulled back." Emma's voice was calm. "I'm not here for his money. All I want is to keep my son safe." Later, Daniel came furious. She had no right. "I told her I love you, and I meant it." Emma turned away, eyes glistening. "Love isn't enough. Not when my son's heart could be broken." She revealed she had resigned. "I can't stay where I don't belong." Daniel's voice broke. "Emma, please." She touched his chest gently. "You deserve someone who fits your world." And she closed the door. Days later, the knock came again. Emma opened it to find Margaret. No jewelry, no armor of wealth. Just a woman. Quiet in a beige coat. She didn't ask to enter. Only glanced inside at Sam humming on the rug. His stuffed animals lined in a neat row as he sang softly to himself. Margaret's expression softened. "I thought I'd stop by," she said quietly. Woman to woman, and Emma realized the story wasn't over yet.